Welcome back, all you Braveheart women. Today's show is called Expand Your Pelvis, Expand Your Consciousness. I'm Sharon. I'm here with my co-hosts, Sam and Sandra. And here we are, back at the Ixtapa World Healing and Training Center. It's all about one law, one love. We are leading the way as Braveheart women, as Braveheart Nation, for a global march to self-empowerment. Sandra will be taking your Facebook questions, so please feel free to share and to ask whatever questions you'd like throughout this day. It's going to be an interactive program today, an interactive show. We're going to be doing all kinds of wonderful things here, showing you all about how we're expanding our pelvis and expanding our consciousness. Our feminine power is creation, courage, confidence, empathy, nurturing, loving, connected to Mother Earth. And the pelvis is our empowerment, is our center to empower us to end up getting reconnected with our God-given essence, which is connection to Mother Earth, our compassion, our ability to honor and bring in those beautiful spirit beings in our sacred womb. So what do you think, Sam?
Well, the power station of a woman is the pelvis, and starting with the root energy center at the base of the spine, the foundation of life. When in balance, it gives us our sense of security and stability. We're able to feel grounded and take life's challenges in our stride.
Yes, it is. It is about taking life challenges in our stride. And that's about the stability. It is about our energy centers. Some people call them chakras. And the energy centers actually bring up that enlightenment into our consciousness. And so if we're blocked or we have issues within our pelvis region, then we're blocked within our consciousness, because that's how the energy flows. Our sacral energy center is the home of our creative and sexual energy, our self-confidence, our intuition, and that all-important gut feeling.
And then we come to our crown center. The crown energy center, direct connection to spirit and self-realization, enabling us to step into your life's purpose and fully experience your connection to the divine source.
Yeah, so when we open up our pelvis region and expand, because contraction is blockage, and when we expand our pelvis area and we open ourselves up, we're now opening ourselves up to the root chakra, which is grounded into Mother Earth. And now we have the sacral chakra, which is more to do with our gut feeling. And you know what, my gut's telling me this. And then now we're flowing up into our divine source, which is our consciousness, which is our divine ability to connect with divinity. And so when we have all that wonderful energy centers flowing up and down, well, then we're rocking and rolling. What do you think, Sandra?
Yeah, it's amazing when we get that proper flow and we get that proper connection, we can become our full, true, authentic self.
Yeah. These three energy centers, when they're aligned, and any kind of blockage is just a misalignment. Any dis-ease that we feel in our body is just a misalignment. And so what we're doing now is we're now going to realign those energy centers. And so when we align those energy centers, well, then now we're really moving and shaking, and we're unleashing our full feminine power. What a great idea.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's bloom, ladies.
And of course, it all comes back to the Holy Grail. And so we do perfect day consults for individuals. We not only give a consultation, but we give a rock solid strategy. A strategy that is supported by these lovely women, supported by other consultants on Daryl Wolf's site. And so what we do is we not only just give you the book, which is over 300 pages of absolute recipes, do-it-yourself, all the different exercises, the 4 pillars, which is about the emotional training, because it all starts with the emotions. And so when we can align the emotions and we have emotional intelligence, which is what the Braveheart emotional intelligence is all about, our Braveheart Emotional Intelligence Masterclass is one of the most thorough means of giving us the protocols, giving us the tools so that then we can have emotional intelligence. Because if we don't have emotional intelligence, then that gut feeling that we have will not channel through. And so the emotional will get in the way because the emotions will rule and school and fool us, just as what ends up happening with our subconscious mind. And so when we can go into the Braveheart Emotional Intelligence Masterclass, and people can sign up for that, use the coupon code BraveheartFree, that now we have alignment, because it's about the emotional and it's about the physical alignment. We need to physically and emotionally align ourselves so that then we can have those gut feelings and we can be strong within our emotions. And so we can just go, when the emotions are starting to go, then we can go, hey, I got this, 3, 2, 1, I got this, and jar that subconscious mind back to this present state. And so then now we are in the conscious state. We are in the place that we can actually heal.
Absolutely. I'd just like to add to that as well, the Perfect Day consult, and we've got practitioners here, and you can choose who you would like to have your consult with, and everyone comes with a slightly different energy and a slightly different feel and where they've come from. And what I really like is it's tailor-made to you. So when you go through your consult and we receive your form and we spend an hour with you sort of unpicking everything and then giving you the tools you need individually, bespoke to what you need to sort of move forward. And what we were saying about that gut intuition, that's something that I've really noticed has just been quashed, and it's something that we really need to get back, because we'll be living in our truth and we'll be trusting ourselves again. And that's our nature. That's what we should have. That's our God-given right. So let's get back to that.
Absolutely. And the foundation of the Perfect Day strategy is all about the Holy Grail, which is our large intestine. That is actually our second brain, and for the most part, it actually acts as our first brain. Because it has the bacteria that end up speaking to the brain 9 times for every time the brain speaks to the brain. So it is actually the Holy Grail, and so that is where the foundation of youth is, if you want to call it that. That is the foundation of realignment. That is the foundation of connecting our emotions with our physical being. So the Holy Grail is responsible for 85% of our immune system, and we feel that the numbers are higher than that. But we'll go with 85, but we think they're more like 90 or 95%. And that Holy Grail of our large intestine has been so abused over our lifetimes. And so when we are not in alignment as far as the Holy Grail and the large intestine, well, then we can't have that gut. We want to call it brain, but it's actually consciousness, because 90% of our brain is our subconscious brain. Only 10% is the conscious. So 90% is actually man-made, because that subconscious brain was actually created from the programs and the adulteration that we ended up. So it actually even isn't even our true self. So what we really want to do is we want to uncover that inner child. That inner child that is trying to get out, because that little spirit being that came into on this plane of existence, that little spirit being is actually our true self, is our authentic self. And so when we look at the Holy Grail, which is the large intestine, it's basically a compost pile, because most people's that's like 1% of the population's large intestine looks like that, as you see on the slide. And so 99% of the population's large intestine isn't sitting like that. You'll see the transverse colon is prolapsed. It's sitting on top of our bladder. People are getting up in the middle of the nights, urinating because it's putting pressure on the bladder. It's leaching toxins into the pelvic girdle, which then is leaching into the pelvic region where all the ligaments and all the tissues are now, the integrity of the tissues is now starting to reduce.
I like to say it to help that evening time snacking. Let's not overload this Holy Grail. Let's not overload the large intestine when it's not prepared to digest your food. It's too late in the evening. You're going to fill up because you maybe got a bit of fungus going on in the gut. And when your energy goes down, their energy goes up, and they say, feed me, feed feed me. So then we start putting in a few things in the evening time. We may go to bed feeling just a little bit bloated. And then how do you think that large intestine is going to talk to the brain? Well, it's going to be giving off all those bad bacteria. So you get up in the next night or even go to bed in a grumpy mood. Well, you've got your bad bacteria going, right? You get up the next morning and you probably don't even notice because this is just the constant state we keep ourselves in. You're in a bad mood. You're being grumpy. Well, our holy grail couldn't talk properly to our intelligence, to our consciousness, and so we're off. We don't feel good. So this is another reason why we've got to learn how to handle those evening time cravings. We need to use our super cinnamon, give us a little bit of a sugar, help balance out those sugars, and go to bed without a full tummy and wake up the next morning ready to rock your world.
Absolutely. And that's what we want to do, is we want to get back our vibrancy. So when you see that grandpa's now, all like crooked over with a cane, and the next thing you know there's a walker and then there's a wheelchair, that doesn't need to happen. No. Because when the large intestine has a compost pile in it, because our fecal matter is our computer printout, as Daryl calls it, and so we look at what goes into the toilet or what doesn't go into the toilet because we're straining, we can't get it out, that little turd finally pops out, we're like, yo! Or we have blowouts, which is actually diarrhea, and so the body ends up pulling all the moisture it can from other parts of from the kidneys and from wherever it can, because it knows that if we don't have a blowout, like in the form of diarrhea, which is actually constipation, then you may have a heart attack, fart attack, or a stroke. And so the body wants to get rid of the toxins. And so when the toxins aren't coming out because the Holy Grail is not functioning properly, that then it's creating this compost pile. And so you have the bacteria, like what Sandra was saying, and it's talking and it's waking up at 7 or 8 o'clock at night when you got the little munchies going on. And so then now we have the integrity of the one cell membrane thickness of the large intestine, that those tight junctions are starting to loosen in that one cell membrane. And so then now you have that putrefaction and infection that's now leaching out through the large intestine, better known as leaky gut. Yeah. And so that leaky gut now puts infection into that pelvic bowl, and that infection is drawn up into the uterus, it's drawn up into the fallopian tubes, into the ovaries, into the kidneys, into all the region. It's then absorbed, and the body has to produce fat. The body has to produce fat to absorb the toxins. And in a woman, if a body doesn't produce fat fast enough, the next favorite spot is the breasts, because that's the storage tanks. And so there's so many lymphatic tissues within the breast tissue that then now you end up with issues such as cysts or fibroids. And that's really is just inflammation gone wild and infection. So it starts with the infection, and then it becomes inflammation, and then the body's resource to buffer down the inflammation is to pull calcium from the bones. And so now you have stagnant areas, and you have adhesions from scar tissues, from cesarean, or whatever the case may be. So it all comes back down to the Holy Grail and the functionality of that. And that's where our perfect day comes into play.
It really does. And I just want to go back to the cravings and how super cinnamon has really helped me, because it's really like one drop in water and it's really sweet. Well, I find it really sweet now. And the bacteria really does have tantrums at you. So I think I'd been here for around 4 months, and I was on the perfect day and doing all of the right sort of things. And I was about to teach a class, actually, and I had the strongest craving for jam, steam, pudding and custard. And I was just like, it's the middle of this really hot sunshine. What on earth is, and my stomach, and I could smell the steamed custard. So it's really real. So just coming back, because this all sounds like quite a lot of information to take in, but it's just little steps each day. And just be really kind to yourself and just do it at your pace. And also, but now, things are getting too sweet for me, so where my bacteria is actually changing and I'm creating an environment that's a good environment, so the good bacteria are coming back to life, I'm not craving those sweet things as much. Every now and then, yes, but not as much. So, and your taste buds will change. I had a smoothie recently and it was too sweet. I couldn't drink it. So just know that it's doable.
Well, that's right. And you can really tell that you're making gains when at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, you're not getting those cravings.
Yeah.
Because now you've switched it over to the fact that you now have good bacteria in your large intestine, the friendly stuff, the stuff that is not going to have you want to eat the fridge at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and you go from salt to sugar, sugar to salt to salt to sugar. It's like
It's
just
incredible.
devouring everything in your path. And that's where the perfect day strategy comes into play. And that's really what it's about, and it's a supported strategy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what we're going to be demoing. Part of what we're going to be demoing is the belly button tool. Where is that belly
Oh, we
button
have
tool?
one here. There we go.
Yeah, so this is the belly button therapy. And so today, if any of our viewers have a belly button therapy tool, please pull it out, because we're going to actually show the demonstration and talk about the vagus nerve, which is actually one of the most important nerves in our body. It's also known as the wandering nerve. It weaves itself around. It actually comes right from the base of our pelvic region, and it weaves itself around in through our heart and in through our intestines, and right by our actual umbilicus, and it goes right up into all the centers of our chakras, of our energy centers. And so it allows us to be able to put ourselves into a parasympathetic state by using the belly button tool.
Yeah,
so the
it's
belly button
amazing.
tool not only stimulates the vagus nerve, it also stimulates over 60,000 nerve receptors in around the umbilicus, because that's where we actually started our life. And do you use yours very often, Sandra?
Yeah, I like using mine at night when I'm kind of cool off for the day and help relax my body. In the morning, I tend to do the clapping in the morning, but I tend to do the belly button at night. But know that you can do both, morning and night, whatever's going to suit your body. If we can't get ourselves back into that parasympathetic, then your body's not going to be able to heal from whatever's going on. So you feel good and you get the body in the right position, and then it can start lining up and doing what it's supposed to do.
Absolutely, and it's super easy. I like the morning, so I'm a morning belly button girl, and I do pelvic expanding, which we're going to come to later, whilst I'm doing the belly button as well. I find that the different positions of the legs and the pelvis is really interesting. I can get into different areas. So, but yeah, do we want to do a little demo?
Sure, let's do
Yeah.
that. And so one
I'll
thing
just
as far
sit
as the vagus
forward.
nerve is concerned, it does wind itself around, and it actually allows ourselves to connect to their foundation of life, which is our root chakra. And so when we stimulate the vagus nerve, it puts us into the parasympathetic state, like Sandra had mentioned, the only state that we can actually truly heal in. If we're in a fight, flight, freeze mode, then we're dumping adrenaline, histamine, or cortisol into our system.
Absolutely.
And if we're in a parasympathetic state, where the brain, the chemist, is now going to be dumping feel-good hormones into the body, which is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And so this belly button therapy tool stimulates the vagus nerve, which then puts us into the state of a parasympathetic state. And so I'm not sure what happened
Should we
here.
all-
How did that happen?
Do we all want to do the belly buttons together? Should
Yeah,
we have
let's
a
do
little
that.
go?
Let's
Do you have
stand
yours
up.
handy? I think it's
Yeah.
just under your seat, lovely.
Right there, is it down here?
We're going to stand up. Do we need to adjust?
Yeah. So the umbilicus is our start of life, and that's where we were connected to our mothers in vitro. And that is why it has so many nerve receptors within the umbilicus region. And that is why this tool is so good to help put us into that state of calmness. Like we were saying, you could do it before you go to bed. I like to leave it right beside my bedside table, because
Yeah.
as soon as I wake up in the morning, I actually end up doing the belly button therapy, and it just is a really nice way to start the day.
So if you have your belly button tool, please use it. If you don't, you can just use 2 fingers and just press into your belly button as well. So we're all going to have a little stand up and show you what we get up to of a
Okay.
morning or an evening.
And so there's a certain methodology as far as how you go about, and you always go in a clockwise direction. And this isn't about, drilling a hole through your body and pumping it, like, 'cause some people are like, okay, I've got my belly button therapy done, and now I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to go do this, I'm going to do some squats, I'm going to do all this, and I've got
Yeah.
like 20 minutes, and like, ding, out the door I go.
That's kind of not the idea. I'm going to stand slightly sideways
Yes.
so you can see a front on and a side angle. So we just gently start to pump the belly button.
Yes. Gently pump, just like a nice rhythmic
Just find a nice little rhythm, relax shoulders. You can do this lying down as well if you want to, which actually I find a bit deeper sometimes, so that might be something to try after you've done this a few times standing. And we're just starting to wake up all of those amazing receptors in the belly button.
And connect to your Lionheart breathing while you're doing this. So 6 seconds in, hold for a few seconds, and then 7 seconds out. It's really important because all of this creates a nice rhythm within the body. And so you can close your eyes and you can really just jive into this. It's about loving. It's about gentle, loving baby steps. And if there is some tenderness within this region, which there very likely could be, because there's little blockages, and if you've had surgeries or any kind of like exploratory surgeries that they've gone through the belly button, there'll be adhesions from scar tissues in this region. And then just gently, just keep working through that, connect to your breath, and realize that any pain is actually your GPS.
Yeah,
it's actually telling you.
Yeah, it's letting you know there's something going on in there, and we can, with this tool, start to gently break that down. Yeah. So I did have sort of like belly button camera and sort of bits and pieces within my pelvic area, and I did actually find this quite uncomfortable at times. So if it feels really uncomfortable, just back off a little bit and go a little bit more gentle and take more breath, and that's going to help you ease through it. And now I can go way deeper than I used to, and I don't have the same pain that I did. So, and that was after about 3 weeks, so it's quite quick.
Yes, I've had other clients of mine say that usually after 2 weeks, and then once they're on they're reducing their inflammation, because inflammation causes a lot of pain. And so when you reduce your inflammation, so as you're on the perfect day strategy and the perfect day diet, then the inflammation's coming down, and then you're able to have less discomfort, if there is some.
If there is some. And so every part of our protocols contributes to your healing, so it's not just one thing, it's all aspects.
Yeah. And so then now you want to start moving it into a clockwise. So if you picture, if you're laying down or as you're facing, that a clock is facing outward, because we want outwards. We want to make sure that we go in a clockwise circular pattern with the belly button tool, because that is the way ascending colon and across the transverse and down the descending and then out through the rectum. So that's the way our poop flows. So we want to make sure that if we rub our belly, it's always about a clockwise position. So now we want to direct it down, so the handle up to the left shoulder, and then down into the right hip.
So I kind of think downwards into the hip area really helps me, and you're just gently pressing on an angle.
And that is stimulating the cecum. So the cecum is where the small intestine enters into the large intestine, and a lot of fecal matter can get plugged up in that region. And so that can be a tender area, is in the cecum. So now we're encouraging openness within the cecum by just gently stimulating it in that direction.
Yeah, and you've got the cecum valve as well, which is often compromised. So this will just really help massage and open that up and get that working properly.
The ileocecal valve. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Because it can, in some people, get jammed open or closed. And so we want to encourage that because of scar tissue. If somebody has lost their appendix, there's a lot of scar tissue within that region, because the scar tissue, or the appendix, sits at the base of the cecum.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, and so we want to encourage the stimulation within that region, and then now we want to turn it so that we're now directing the handle to the left side, and now we're directing it to the ascending colon, right inside the belly button. So we're now just gently doing this, and we're just connecting to our breath.
So really have a go, guys, and see how this feels for you. It's actually really meditative once you get into it and you get into the breath. You can be listening to music, you can just relax, and you're looking to maybe do a minute in each position. We're taking it nice and slow so you can really see what's going on. You can do it for as long as you like, but if you feel a little bit time sensitive, a minute per position is a really nice thing to do. So you're looking at around it's under 10 minutes basically.
Yeah. Like 5 to 8 minutes, and just go with the flow. Just close your eyes, take your breathing. 6 seconds in, Lionheart breathing, hold for a few seconds, 7 seconds out. And so then now you want to put the handle towards the left hip. And so now we're working into the gallbladder and the liver region. And so we're now directing the little belly button buddy. And as you can see, mine's really well used, my belly button therapy too.
I love that. I've not had the belly button buddy. I love that. You keep
Yeah, the little belly button buddies.
It's got a little happy face.
Hanging out in the gallbladder liver. So it's just doing its thing.
See, it can be fun as well. You can do this with your kids, guys, and make it fun, because I want to show you it actually has a little smiley face, right? So the kids will love this. It's really good.
Absolutely.
Get them started.
And so you can create, you could actually, if you have a handy person or yourself in the house, you can actually create little ones for the little people, and you can order these little belly button buddies online. And so now we're going to be inside the belly button, and we're going to go up towards the sternum.
Yeah, so you're just sort of gently facing the handle downwards, and you're pulling gently upwards through the belly button.
Yeah, that's right. And just a nice rhythm.
Yeah, when you'll notice this is like slow. We're not hammering away. It's just it's a really gentle, loving exercise.
Yeah, loving.
But you can slowly go like deeper as well. You can sort of push right in when that feels comfortable.
Okay, so Sandra is saying that there's a question.
Oh, what do you have, Sandra?
This is interesting. I can hear a British accent.
Ooh.
Can I order one of these, and how much is shipping to the UK, please? So you're shipping to the UK. I'll just come back into the picture here. I'm a little too wired up to do the belly button. So your shipping to the UK is totally going to depend on what else you order. So the warehouse, how big, how wide, how tall, how heavy. So that'll be determined as per your order. But definitely order this and ship to the UK. Any international shipments come out of Canada warehouse.
And what was the name of the individual that gave us that question?
That was Michelle Roberts.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
This
Thank
is
you.
our British connection.
Hello.
Sam is
Sam.
completely lovely, and we've fallen in love with her.
I've fallen in love with you guys as well.
Yes, that's right.
And we have two Canadians here, so we got Canadian and British.
It's very international here,
Yeah,
guys.
it is
We're
international.
global.
That's right. And the pelvic ladies are from Ukraine, and we've got another Russian lady, and Ireland, England, Australia.
New Zealand, everywhere.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Yeah.
coming to Ixtapa. Come and join us.
Yeah. And Michelle Roberts has another comment. I find it hard to breathe 6 seconds in and 7 out.
Well, eventually we'll be doing a breathwork class.
Yeah.
And so it's about actually retraining the body to be able to diaphragmatically
expand.
breathe. One of the issues is, Michelle, is that because when we become institutionalized, when we're born, we're diaphragmatically breathing. A newborn child, its belly rises and it falls, and it rises and falls. And then because of the programming and because of all the tension that we are now put into, and then I believe when we become institutionalized in the schools, that then I did a little bit of a study, and I believe it's about grade 2 or grade 3, where we start bronchial breathing. Mm-hmm. So we actually freeze up the diaphragm. And so it's very important to do specific types of exercises to actually loosen that up. And we'll be doing a class on that, an interactive class on one of the Braveheart Women's shows.
We really will.
And actually give some demonstration on how we can actually loosen that up. It's something that I've been doing for many years. And so what happens is that you're just so tight. And so do the belly button therapy, and then try the breath work, because the belly button therapy will actually increase your stretch by 25%. So it should relax those areas that are so tight. But yes, just do the best you can, and then just hold. And even if you just breathe in for 3 or 4 counts and hold, the place of stillness is the important part, and then let it out. And then just be very gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong way. There's just a way. So it's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
Just reduce
Thank you, Michelle.
the amount of time that you do it for. Take it, like Sharon said, to 3 or 4 seconds. Be gentle with yourself. And then once you do that for a while, you'll find you naturally start to expand anyway. So so I've moved myself into the next position. We're going upwards.
Which is into the spleen and stomach. So now we're stimulating the spleen and stomach as we're pointing the handle down to the right hip, and then upwards for our little buddy into the spleen and stomach area. And so we're just going to work, like Sam was saying, about a minute or so into each one of the regions, and just nice and gentle. And it's really important to do this before you do yoga and before you do stretching, even like we're going to demonstrate the pelvic squats and the pelvic expander. Is there another question, Sandra?
Another comment from Michelle. That makes a lot of sense. As I also have asthma from 2 years old, I look forward to that. So
Excellent.
no
Look forward
problem,
to having
Michelle.
you there.
And Michelle, I would encourage you, if you haven't already, to look online and maybe book yourself a perfect day consult.
Yeah.
And then find the strategies that we can provide you to help with those issues as far as the asthma, because there are strategies and protocols that we have available that can give you relief and realign you from those types of symptoms that you're experiencing. Because asthma is just a label. It's just showing that the body's in dis-ease. And so our beautiful allopathic medicine, they like to put all these labels onto things, and so then we become that, and we don't need to become that. It's just showing that the body's out of alignment. And so we give the protocols and the strategies to now move somebody back into alignment with our perfect day. And like I said, do you give yourself that gift and honor and love and respect if you have an opportunity.
Absolutely.
So then now we're going to move over to the descending colon. So we're going to angle the belly button to the left, and so it's now the handles to the right, and so we're just going to angle it in that direction and just really be loving and gentle and encouraging, because we'll get compacted in all regions of our large intestine, because the large intestine is a muscle, and those haustras end up getting frozen in time because they're not being manipulated, because they're actually, because of the inflammation and because of the infection, and then if we've had numerous bouts or even one cycle of antibiotics, then that will create little pitting within the large intestine wall, and then it will prevent those haustras from actually moving the fecal matter out of, and they become the muscle tone of the large intestine actually becomes reduced, and so then they don't actually work properly. So this will help encourage the flow, encourage the blood, and help open up the large intestine, so it actually does have a good flow to it.
It really will. And this side for me specifically is still a little bit uncomfortable. It's so much better than when I first started, but there's still some work here, so I often spend a little bit more time here and maybe take a bit more of a gentle approach when I'm on this side. So just work with your body.
Absolutely. And gentle, loving baby steps. This isn't a destination, it's a journey. And so if you just do like a couple of seconds because it feels a little bit uncomfortable for you, then maybe the next day you can do 6 seconds or 7 seconds or whatever it happens to be. But close your eyes and just say, you know what, I love, honor, and respect you, because this is about self-care. And this is about empowering yourself, so that then you can now take charge of your health. And you can now empower yourself to be a leader for yourself. And then that leader just ends up reverberating into the family.
Yeah.
And so then you become a leader in the family, and you become a leader in your community. And that's what we're building here with our Braveheart Women and with our Braveheart Nation, is we're building leaders. We're building leaders that now can now be in the conscious moment and actually be conscious rather than subconsciously controlled.
Colette, do you have to stand, or is it possible to do when sitting?
Yeah, you can absolutely do when sitting. Do you want to demo a sitting? Should we sit?
Sure, yeah.
So we're going to take a little seat.
And then we can actually now go and we can direct it into our sigmoid, which is now, so now you're going to be directing it down to the left hip, the little belly button dude, the belly button, the little happy guy.
The belly button dude, I love that. So I would sit with you, maybe sort of hip width and parallel with your legs, so you're really nice and secure, your feet flat on the floor, and then you're just a little bit more supported and just connect through your spine, and then we're just gently pressing exactly the same. So that might make it a little bit more easy if it's like your first time or you've got any mobility issues.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you could do it lying down, you could do it standing up, and you can do it sitting down, whatever's most comfortable for you. The key is just to try to do it, and the key is repetitive. It's all about repetition. The more we can put ourselves into a parasympathetic state and spur on and rejuvenate and actually like stimulate that vagus nerve, then the more we will heal. And so now we're in a state of healing, and so now we can actually move through our day and feel like we've got it. We've got it.
And it doesn't have to be morning or night. You can just have your belly button tool around the house and use it whenever you get 5 minutes, just
absolutely.
Why not give yourself that gift?
Yeah. And so then now we can now direct it down into the rectum, and so we stimulate that area, and just nice and gentle baby steps, and that's what this is all about. And the final move is back into the center.
Back to the center.
And just really, and so as you work through this, you can start to go deeper and deeper. And there's some of the people that they actually go so deep that they're actually into the spinal area. Yeah, which is really amazing.
I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah.
On my way.
It's interesting though, we all do it morning or night, so we're all probably doing it laying in bed. So
Yeah, absolutely.
But we get to tailor make this to what makes sense for you. So whether you keep the tool in your bedroom or like Sam said, whether you keep the tool in the living room or the kitchen, you know, everything works.
Yeah,
as long as we're
absolutely.
doing the repetition.
Repetition.
Yeah. And the other thing that we can do, because many of us have had surgeries, and so I've had an appendix out and just people with cesarean and, you know, various surgeries, whatever that happens to be, you can actually go into those regions and you can actually gently work that, because any of those surgeries, they have created scar tissue, which scar tissue is being created from the inflammation. And that scar tissue now creates adhesions. And so you'll have adhesions that like grow like a vine, like a vine of a grape. And so they start wrapping themselves around various areas. And so you'll find tenderness within these regions that are around the actual scar itself. And you can go in there and you can gently open up those tissues, because any of those tissues are tissues that are lacking lymph, blood, and oxygen. And that's what the Wolf Non-Surgical does. So we do an abdominal lift. We do abdominal treatments for individuals. And so then we go in there gently and we take that really twisted tissue that has been dehydrated and is lacking blood, oxygen, and lymph, and we gently open it up, and then now lymph, blood, and oxygen just goes to the tissue and it converts back to healthy tissue like that. And so you can actually do some therapy on yourself and try to open up some of that scar tissue and adhesions that are being created from those various surgeries that we have.
Mm-hmm. And another thing I notice as well is, because we speak about the scars having legs because they kind of grow, I can be doing my belly button therapy here and I can feel it in my back on the opposite side. So it's really like inside. It's really interesting. So just keep going with it and just gently open everything up.
I had a woman that I ended up doing a non-surgical treatment on, and she had a cesarean, and so the leg of the adhesion that was actually coming off the side of it wrapped around her hip. And so then we actually I went in there and opened it up, and it gave her so much relief in her hip. But it was actually from an adhesion from a cesarean scar. And for myself, I had an adhesion from my appendix scar that came up and it had wrapped itself around my transverse colon and it had attached itself to my rib. And when that opened up, I felt a popping on my rib, and a few days later my rib was a little tender. But that would have just kept dehydrating and shrinking like a piece of meat that's been thrown on the barbecue, because all of that is becoming so dehydrated because there's no lymph, blood, and oxygen. And when something is inflamed, it is on fire. And so it's like that tissue was on fire, and it would have kept just pulling that rib until eventually maybe it had done some more damage than what I would have thought could ever happen from an adhesion.
So I'm going to tell you my story. When I started getting the abdomen done, we do several treatments on them. You'll get a lot of relief out of the first one, but it's always good to keep going back in. So probably about my third abdomen treatment, Jason, my practitioner, said that he was dealing with a piece of fibroid or scar tissue that was up and actually attached to my rib. And so we were dealing with that. And then otherwise, I had a little bit of a lump right on my pelvic region. And I've never had any pregnancies, never gone through any of that, but just different traumatic events that happen. A little bit of that emotion gets caught in that area. That creates a block. That means that blood flow can't go through, and you get an area of acidity. So your body is forced to send that fibrin in, try to block it off and keep that acidity from affecting everything else. We're women, and we have this holy grail of wonderfulness, but that also means we have a whole bunch of organs there that the body's then trying to protect. So the body's trying to protect itself from this, what is essentially traumatic emotion trapped in there, and the body's trying to protect itself from that affecting it. So we get to deal with that when we do the Wolf non-surgical as well.
It's amazing.
Because the invisible creates the physical.
Yeah.
And so it all does start with the emotions. When you track back and you say to yourself, okay, you know what, I started not feeling good like 2.5 years ago. And I'll say, well, what happened 2.5 years ago? Oh, well, I lost my job and my house and, whatever happened. There was death in the family. Whatever had happened, there's always that moment where there was that stressful time. And so as soon as there's that stressful time and you don't deal with the emotions, and so the emotions are not dealt with, then they get trapped in the tissues. And so it's not only a body work, it's a body work that is releasing the emotions, like what you were saying. And so
really
then those emotions are then attracted to various areas of the body. And so of course, all the sexual energy within our pelvic region, that if it's anything to do with trauma associated with that, or just not feeling comfortable within your own body, whatever it happens to be, it's that then if we don't deal with those emotions, then those emotions create the inflammation within the region, and so then the body attracts calcification because any inflammation is acidic, and so then the body needs to attract the calcification or the calcium, and then we end up with blockages. And so when we go in there, like Sandra was saying, with the body work and the Wolf non-surgical, and we open those tissues up, then we release the emotion. And so it's so many emotional releases. But I'll tell you, I've seen work done on pelvic clearance work, and that married with the pelvic floor restoration and the courses that the Nadia and Irina are going to be offering via Zoom and also face-to-face here at the Ixtapa World Healing and Training Center, that married with all of those ligaments and all of those tissues that we're going to start encouraging to be stimulated with opening up the blockages. It's like bam.
Yeah.
We now have a pelvic region, and then the squats and the belly button, the clapping, etc. It's now we have a pelvic region that's just going to be firing on all levels. And so then that's where the consciousness comes into play. So we're going to just encourage that flow. And so then now we can connect to our infinite power.
Yeah, we're just totally opening everything up, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
So maybe we'll sit down, Lev.
Yeah, so we're going to sit down here and...
I have a question.
Okay.
Denise, I've had a tubulation operation, left huge scars across my belly button. It's been 37 years ago, after deciding not to have any more children. I'm sore in the belly button area. I never touch it. It hurts to clean it. That's a lot of infection in there. It hurts to clean it. Made me sick once with too much pressure. Can I do this treatment?
Well, it's all about stimulation, and it's all about creating flow. And so there may end up being some infection that comes out of the belly button. And so we want that infection to come out. And so it may be a little nasty, and it may not be that comfortable and painful. However, there's blockages within that, and we want those toxins to come out of the body. We don't want them to sit in there. So to continue to work that, and we'll show you the clapping, because the clapping will be another great way to stimulate that area. And you could end up putting, things like the silver bullet gel and some of the C60 and make a paste with the iodine and maybe the black diamond crystals, and you could put that on there to help heal it and draw out. And so with the circulation, we want to keep encouraging that. So absolutely, if you can work through that, get connected to your breath. We are programmed to believe that whenever anything like that happens, that we're supposed to stop and oh my gosh, it's like painful, or oh my gosh, there's infection coming out. Oh, I got to run to the doctor, and it's terrible. It's really, really good, because we want that to be coming out of us. And so to encourage that flow, I would highly recommend that you keep going with that.
I would definitely recommend that you go with that, and just take it really gentle. If actually physically putting something in your belly button, because I felt a little bit sick to begin with as well, and I saw that happy face and it didn't make me that happy, but I'm now used to it. So you could just start with your middle finger and just lightly press on your belly button, just really gentle. If that feels too much, just around the outside in the area, put some oil on, make it nice for yourself. You could do a little massage around the belly button. So be really gentle. But yeah, like Sharon was saying, the infection really needs to come out, and don't be scared of that. Our bodies are super intelligent, and we just need to trust them. So if stuff is starting to come out of your belly button, button, allow it. It's really okay. And then your healing process is started.
What about some palm work? Could you use your palm to gently put some pressure on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could, because then it doesn't feel quite as intrusive,
Yeah.
maybe, right? That's a lovely
Yeah,
idea,
so
actually. You
maybe-
can just really gently rub with your palm and just send the area love. Like, let your belly button know that you love it. You can talk to your body, right?
Yeah, and you know, the feeling sick to the stomach is, you know, there's emotion associated with that. And so we also have a therapy called Therapeutic Vomiting, which is actually a very powerful therapy. And I've I've observed individuals coming into the course, and they will all of a sudden feel like sick to their stomach because emotions are being stirred up. And so to get those emotions out, because that's where, you know, the whole phrase, you make me sick to my stomach, is that those emotions get stuck within the abdominal region, within the stomach. And so the therapeutic vomiting is actually a very powerful tool as far as being able to get rid of those emotions. And that's something that you may want to look at,
Yeah.
and possibly book a perfect day consult, so that then you can find out more information on that. But just keep
Absolutely.
just gentle steps, and don't rush yourself. Just allow yourself to work through that. Thank you for the question.
This belly button demo has created a lot of questions, so this is really good,
Awesome.
because
Yeah.
this is a do-it-yourself thing. This is something that's going to put the power back in your hands, and you know how easy is that, right? Order it, or like Sharon said, a lot of ladies got a handyman around the house. Someone can make the wooden
Yeah.
tool. Steve's question is it normal to feel a small lump on the lower right-hand side of the stomach? So I'd say no, not normal, but it's okay. We're not going to freak about it. Ladies, what would you say about the belly button?
Well, are you talking like the lower right side? So it may end up being in the cecum area, where the ileocecal valve meets the small intestine, which is actually often where there's scar tissue, because of the fact, I don't know if you've lost your appendix or whether you've had other surgery, but that can, because of all the putrefaction that's going on. You see, we emotionally eat, and there's two open systems within the body: the open system of the digestive system, and then the open system of the respiratory system. And so our stomach needs to produce hydrochloric acid to kill anything that comes into it, any pathogens or parasites or any worms or anything that comes into it. And if our large intestine isn't functioning properly, and we have potentially a prolapsed transverse colon, then the hydrochloric acid is sitting in something called a fishhook stomach, and it's sitting in the base of it. And so it's not churning properly, and it's not maneuvering properly. And so what can happen is that putrefaction and those worms and parasites and everything come out of the small intestine into the large intestine, and can create so much inflammation that ileocecal valve gets jammed open or closed, and actually becomes a bit scarred. And so that lump might be your ileocecal valve, or maybe in your cecum area, but that's a real prominent area of dis-ease, because there's blockages within that. So Steve, just go in there gently with it, and just see if you can open it up and breathe, and just allow yourself to just relax within it. You may very well be experiencing like acid reflux and acidity within the stomach, and that being jammed open, or the ileocecal valve staying open or being closed too much, it creates havoc within that region. And so it's really good to get the Holy Grail functioning properly, and potentially get some Wolf non-surgical on that to really stimulate the large intestine, to stimulate circulation, and to get the fecal matter, which is creating the putrefaction within that region, out of there. And then coffee enemas, the ultimate coffee enemas, is really important too as well. So look at getting yourself a perfect day consult, Steve, if you have an opportunity. That'd be great. Thank you for the question.
Also, the clapper, I think, would be a great tool for that, just to really bring the circulation up in the area. And like Sharon said, coffee enemas, daily cleansing tea, just to get everything moving in a nice, gentle way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Christy Ray, I had Wolf non-surgical treatment done on myself for a C-section. Felt amazing. How come the top of my scar sometimes stings or itches just on the surface? What does that mean? Should I keep up with my belly button therapy and putting C60 oil on it? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Christy. So what's happened is that it's feeling itchy and stimulated because you've got more circulation. And so that circulation is actually creating some, like the nerve fibers are starting to like regenerate. And so then it's actually creating some kind of stimulatory response. And so just work through it and just gently, you could get the dry brush out, you could gently dry brush it, you could plait it, you could clap it, put the C60 on it, and just gently you could put some DMSO cream on it, DMSO gel on it, and you could just continue to stimulate it. But that's what's going on here. And so there may be some toxins coming out of it because scar tissue holds more toxins than fat. So the body produces fat to store toxins, and then the next most concentrated area of toxins is scar tissue, and then as you go through that it becomes into cysts and fibroids, and so there's toxins within that. So if you've had some Wolf non-surgical done, you're increasing the circulation, and so therefore the body needs to pull out those toxins, and it could be coming out through the skin too as well.
Yeah, I would just like to comment to that. I think we're told when something is itchy or uncomfortable to stop, when actually that's exactly when we should be continuing, because it's the starting process of your healing. And just again, trust your body. And also, like, maybe you weren't feeling anything before and now you've started to make those connections come back to life, and you're just feeling stuff instead of numbness. So it's a really positive thing as far as I can see. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is there some more questions?
Oh yeah, we're rocking here, ladies.
Thank
Good
you,
job.
everybody.
And men are commenting
Amazing.
too. I have a problem with the belly button, that it stinks. I started doing the detox tea and coffee enemas about 3 months ago. I also have a problem with heavy periods, and my C-section scar gets lumps that turn into a pimple. So let's start with there's 2 questions there. My belly button stinks, started the detox tea and coffee enemas about 3 months ago.
Well, we had mentioned that earlier in regards to the one where there was some infection coming out. So it's smelling because you're
Stirring
detoxing.
things up.
You're stirring things up. Absolutely, you're stirring things up. So be patient. And if you got heavy periods, the woman, when we have our periods, it's our way of sloughing out toxins. And so as you're detoxifying, your periods may end up increasing in heaviness because of the fact that you're pulling more toxins out of the body. And so just be gentle with yourself. Make sure you're drinking a lot of structured water, hot structured water every day, 3/4 of an ounce per body pound. So we need to drink that water because we need to keep hydrating, reducing the inflammation from the toxins being released. And so it's very gentle. The tea is very gentle, but it pulls toxins from the organs, from the tissues, from the blood, very gently. So those toxins have to come out somewhere. And so it's just a matter of just being patient and just being loving and just encouraging for yourself and doing the mirror work, looking in the mirror, empowering yourself. 3, 2, 1, give yourself a kiss. You got this. You got this, girl. You do.
And then remember, we were talking about all the fibroids. We start taking these detox items, and they start to help the body identify and help to move more of the waste along. It's maybe going to come up against some of those fibroids. So again, we just have to be patient and know that we're at the start of our process, and everything's going to work out. Again, how the belly button will help you wherever you're at, whether you've got a Wolf non-surgical person close or not. This self-empowerment of taking care of yourself is definitely going to make a difference. So the other half of that question was, I also have a problem with heavy periods, and my C-section scar gets lumps sometimes that turn into a pimple.
Well, the pimple then is coming to the surface. So a pimple is just something that's a little pus sac. And so that means that there's infection. So that it appears that what we've got coming out of the surface is the infection that's sitting in around the blockage of the cesarean scar. And so it's good it's coming out because we don't want it to go in.
Yeah.
And really, what ends up happening, a cyst is actually, it's an infection sac that the body has walled off. And then a fibroid is something that's an older cyst. So it's become hardened and it's become more calcified. And so when it's a cyst, then we can actually encourage that to come out. So if it's coming out of that cesarean scar in the form of pimples, it's infection coming out. So it's really good. And the heavy periods, as you start detoxifying, bringing down the inflammation, because remember, the Holy Grail, which is the large intestine, when you have leaky gut and all that infection and putrefaction that's going into the pelvic bowl, all the organs around there are absorbing that, which is the uterus, which is the bladder, which is the kidneys, which is in all those areas. So as we start reducing that putrefaction and all that infection that's going within those tissues, then that will start correcting itself and it won't be so heavy. But it's heavy now because the body is getting rid of the toxins. And the good thing about being a woman is that we do have a monthly period, and that's the way that we are actually sloughing out toxins out of the body. And so when we go through menopause, often that's when these misalignments start really showing up, because now the toxins don't have the monthly cycle to get rid of the heavy toxic load that we may be under. And so then now the toxins are going back into the body, and that's when we start really showing up with these different misalignment issues, sometimes referred to as disease.
Right, and I would just say again, it's a really good thing that it's coming out of your body, because you're releasing the toxins. You don't want them to store in your body. And where you've been doing the detox tea and the cleansing protocols, it's stirring everything up. So really, like when you see a spot forming, just that's a really good thing. So just be really thankful that your body's doing its job that it was designed to do.
Yeah, loving yourself.
Yeah, just love
it's
everything
about
that's
self-love.
happening.
That's what this is about loving yourself, saying, you know what, body, you are so amazing, and now you're healing. And this is what it's about. It's about healing. It's about realignment. It's about loving and caring and nurturing.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Cindy, thanks for making sense of how I feel. So,
Fantastic,
no problem,
Cindy.
Cindy. We
That's
can come
awesome.
together and make sense of a lot of things when we just
Yeah.
join together with a few more people. We don't have to
beautiful.
stay alone and by ourselves. We
Thank
can
you,
come
Cindy.
together.
Thank you.
Betsy says her comment might be slightly off topic, but I don't think so, Betsy. She has a bilateral osteoarthritis in the hips. How do we address the narrowing of the joint spaces? And I'm saying it's related because when we are pooping in our pelvis and we were holding on to all those toxins, eventually they're going to start working down the hips and causing problems as we go. So yeah, it's slightly in a different spot, but it is really all a domino effect of everything that we're talking about right now. So it can cause a whole bunch of different things. So narrowing of joints sounds like calcium getting displaced and causing some problems. And so the calcium ionic therapy is great for that. But to just let me check the rest of that question. The rest of the question was also, how does one know that scar tissue will be present? I will request a perfect day consult to better address all these concerns.
Thank you. Well, that's a very good idea. So what, like Sandra was saying, is that when there's such putrefaction and infection going on from pooping into the pelvis from the large intestine, is that, of course, the hips are sitting right there. And so that inflammation, inflamed, on fire, is hot. And so it will take the cartilage of the hips and start to dehydrate it, start to shrink it, start to shrivel it, like you're throwing a piece of meat on the barbecue. And that starts to then contract it. And so with that, then it actually starts to shrink. And so your joint space is now going to be smaller because it used to have this beautiful fluid in there, and now it's becoming dehydrated and it's starting to shrink. And so then you get contraction within the joint itself. And so eventually then the doctor will say, oh, you need a hip replacement because you're bone on bone. Well, where did the cartilage go and all the connective tissue go? Did it just like fly out of the body? Well, no, it didn't. It actually started to concrete itself and weld itself onto the inside of the hip joint. And so it's still there. It's just so dehydrated. Like I said, if you throw a piece of meat onto the barbecue and leave it there for weeks and weeks, it's going to shrink and shrivel and contract and dehydrate and become just this little pocket of mess, right? And so that's actually welded itself on. And so with the Wolf Non-Surgical, we go in there and we open up that joint area and we open up the tissues, because now you're going to have connective tissue that's now going to have displaced calcium in it, and it's going to be shrunk. And so we open it up, and it's not going to have blood flow. It's not going to have oxygen, lymph, or blood to the tissues. And so we go in there gently, and we take the tissues around the joint, the hip itself, and we open it up. And then now we have blood and lymph and oxygen, and that tissue starts to plump up, and now you've got more space, and now you don't have the pain. And so now we're reducing it, and we guarantee all of our treatments. We guarantee the Perfect Day consult. We guarantee all of our Wolf non-surgical. 100% money back guarantee that you will get relief after the first treatment. And we will give you relief after the first treatment, because now we'll have the flow.
We really will. So there's the domino effect to disease, but there's also a domino effect to health as well, and wellness. So once we've opened that up with the non-surgical and there's blood flow to the area, you can move more easily. You're going to then increase your movement, which will increase the blood flow, and it's just this continuous healing journey. So it's so exciting.
And the inflammation, the only way the body can buffer down the inflammation, because inflammation is acidity, and the body needs that to be at a slightly alkaline level, is to pull calcium from the bones. And so the calcium becomes displaced, it gets stuck in the joint, and so then now you have even more of an issue. So it all comes down to the inflammation. So let's just get rid of the inflammation, and we're good to go.
So simple.
Okay, Michelle is back.
Hi, Michelle.
Yeah. Do you recommend that the Perfect Day consultation is the first step to take? I saw there are so many supplements on the Doc of Detox page, and it does get quite confusing of where to start and what to order. So I totally hear you, I get it. The base steps are your daily cleansing tea, your black diamond crystals, and your black gold. And that everybody should start right there and keep it nice and simple. Throw in the belly button, throw in the clapper maybe on that first order too. And one more key thing, in my opinion, is the watered structure unit, but we won't have really time to go into that explanation. Head to the library and there's explanations on everything. But keep it nice and simple for that first order. Definitely, throw the belly button tool in, throw the tea, the black diamond crystals, and the black gold, and you're off to the races. And then, of course, get yourself educated, going into the library, book that consultation right away. You're absolutely right. And so that's how I encourage everybody to start out.
Yeah, and it's the strategy, and it's a supported strategy. So we end up, because you have lifetime support from a consultant within Daryl Wolf's, within the Doc of Detox. And so that's what it is. It's not just that we do 1 hour and we say, okay, see ya, here, get some products and talk to you later. It's about supporting that, and it's about encouraging you to reach your goals as far as what it is. And the intake form is a really thorough intake form, and that's given to you. And you're also given the over 330 page Perfect Day guide link, so you can go in there and you can look at the recipes, you can look at the different strategies associated, food combining charts and all these kinds of things. So it's really extensive, and so it's a strategy, but it's a supported strategy. And do yourself a favor and book a consult. Then you can really have a clear plan. And we're not just giving you a Band-Aid. It's just not, here, we'll take these supplements and here we go. We're giving you a clear and concise plan, and a supported one. So it's really important.
It is really important, and it's also because there is so much information and so many different areas of the work that we're doing. I think it really helps to speak to someone and get it tailor-made to you, and then you pull from the bits that you require first and foremost, and then you can add on the other bits going forwards. And if you get stuck, then you just message us and we'll arrange a time for another quick chat and catch up, and it's the lifetime support, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the microcirculation. So the microcirculation is our capillaries, our blood vessels, our small venules, arterioles, and our lymph. And so the microcirculation is responsible for 76% of our circulation. 76. Our arteries and our veins are only responsible for 24% of our circulation. So the disease in the body shows up when there's a test for microcirculation. So the trouble is in the cells. So the cells shut down. So we are made of over 60 trillion cells. So every one of those cells has a little memory, it has a little spine, it has all of the components associated with it. So when we want to have a healthy body, we need to have a healthy cell, because that's the base structure. So what the microcirculation is that it's about stimulating that. So the arterial and the veins are only responsible for 24% of our circulation. So when we think of microcirculation, we think of if we're trying to get home and we're taking the highways and the byways, those would be the arteries and the veins, and all the side streets are the microcirculation. So if we don't have a side street, well, we can't get home. And so the doctors and the allopathic world that we're dealing with is that they are all focused on the arteries and the veins. Well, that's not where the health lies. The health lies in the venules and the blood vessels and the arterioles, all the small ones, because that's where we get the circulation, that's where we get the tone, and that's where we create the health within the body. So the actual microcirculation, it's we have tools such as the clapper, and we're going to show our clapper demo. Would you ladies like to pull out your clapper? This is one of the best tools. Can you hand me mine, please?
Yeah, of course. Oh, it's just underneath.
Oh, is it underneath?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So I think we're going to stand up again, aren't we, to do this? Do we want to do that?
Yeah. So this is the clapper, and the microcirculation will help put us into a parasympathetic state. So this is one of the best tools that you could clap yourself back to health.
You really
with
can.
This beautiful little clapper here, and so you could have a lot of fun with it, and that's what it's about. Isn't it about having fun? Because girls like to have fun.
Right, definitely. And if you don't have a clapper, you can use your hands, guys. You can just gently, not so gently actually, you want to actually feel it and just really give yourself, just wake up everything throughout the skin.
And so what you can do with this is that when you've had a day of, where you felt like, oh boy, I've had quite a day, you can actually take the clapper and you can clap your neck and your scalp and your face for an hour. I do this like every second night. And I'll tell you, even if you do it for 20 minutes, so you just hit each area like 10 minutes, it's like, wow. I'm just like totally revitalized and I'm completely in my zen.
It's really amazing. If you've got a headache, this might be like the last thing you feel like doing, but honestly, you just tap your head and the back of your head and around your neck, and the headache will be gone within 10 minutes. I've done it a few times. So it's really, really good. So should we show the pelvis? So we're going to stand up.
So this is about expanding the pelvis and expanding your consciousness. And so we're going to show some clapping techniques in regards to the pelvic region. You want to? Okay. So it is nice. It's good to just have a methodical rhythm. You don't. And when you're clapping, call it clapping, not slapping.
It's definitely clapping.
Because there's an emotional component with that. And some people need to start off very gently because of maybe emotional stuff that has happened throughout their lives. And I've had, discussions with people in the Perfect Day Consult where it's like, I feel like I'm slapping myself because I was slapped when I was younger. And there's these issues that are coming along that are emotional. And so just close your eyes and just say, you know what? I love, honor, and respect myself, because this is about microcirculation. This is about stimulating the body and bringing it back into alignment. And muscle tone. You get muscle tone with
You really do get muscle tone.
Yeah. So like a nice, slow, rhythmic, like your heartbeat. So you're just really, just nice, slow rhythm. And so you can actually clap into your pelvic region and really stimulate that area. You can clap into your cesarean scar, your appendix scar, and really stimulate that area. Stimulate the blood vessels and those small venules and the capillaries. It's all about the stimulation. And all about taking your time.
When you're at home and you're doing this by yourself, you're going to have this directly on your skin, so not through your clothing, and you do that in private.
Yeah, and so you can clap your face. Any creases in the face is calcification of the muscle belly.
That's incredible.
And we hold a lot of emotion in the face, and so when you're doing the face, it may feel emotional for you.
Yeah.
On various levels. And I know for myself, I peeled off layers and layers of this face because I had held so many, put your best face forward. Well, I was a master at it. I was a pro. I could hold a master class on that one.
Your face has definitely changed, honey, since I met you. It's incredible to witness the stuff that happens here. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a witness. Yeah, we have witnesses here. And so you can actually just go in there and just gently clap and just create a nice rhythm. Close your eyes, connect to your breathing, and this will bring back muscle tone. And so you can clap the bingo arms. I call them the bingo legs. You can clap all of these areas and just really like skin on skin, like Sam was saying. And so if you do have any kind of so-called bruising that comes up, it'll be discoloration in the tissues, is that is toxins being released. And the darker the bruising is, the darker, blacker it is, the more toxic the tissue is. And so it's actually very toxic. And so keep going with it. If it's not too tender, keep going with it, because the skin is our largest organ, and we want those toxins to come out. So we want to encourage the toxins to come out, not go back in.
Absolutely.
So don't be concerned about that, because the only reason that we should actually bruise is if we get hit by a car. And so this so-called bruising, if we bump into a table or whatever, we get a little bit of a bruise. It's just toxins coming out of the tissues.
It's toxins, so please don't be scared of it. When I first started, and we concentrate on the inside of the left elbow, which is connected to your heart meridian, and I've done this for 10 minutes before. I had some quite dark bruising on the first time I did it. On the second time, it reduced by half. The third time, there's hardly anything there. So the more we go with the perfect day nutrition and everything like that, the toxins are leaving the body, so less bruising. But just have it as a gauge as to where you are in terms of toxic load, and know that you're releasing it. So it's a good thing.
Yeah. And top 3 surgeries that are performed on women. I mean, most surgeries are performed on women, but the top 3 in this order: number 1 is cesarean. Number 2 is hysterectomy. There's a hysterectomy in the United States of America every minute. That's a lot of hysterectomies.
That's incredible.
And the myomectomy. And so any of those surgeries, any kind of stiffness, is blocks, swelling, pain, and inflammation. And so this will actually help remove blocks within. We were actually encouraging the blood flow. And so just really the consistency is key. So to do it more repetitively. So even if you can only do it 10 minutes, you can do in your abdomen area for 10 minutes today, then do it again tomorrow for 10 minutes. And so keep stimulating that. Stimulate until you see the pinkness, because then you know you've created more microcirculation.
Which is what you're after.
Yeah,
right. So
exactly.
It's amazing, and just to have your clapper with you. You can do this anywhere. It's a really easy little tool, or just use your hands. And if you find somewhere that's a little bit achy or uncomfortable, clap it, because that's just going to help it. It means it's telling you there's a little block, and that's going to help you release it.
And you can use the edge for chopping into the different joints. You can use it into the groin, and you can really encourage that. And so you can use the chopping. You can use both sides, and into the neck. You can actually get in between the vertebrae, and you can work into finer areas with the edge of the clapper too as well. And you can even use this side too, if you want to go into smaller areas.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Is there any questions, Sandra?
Yeah, there was a question from earlier. It's a surgery that's done during a pregnancy, and pardon me, I'm not sure if I'm going to say this correctly, but episiotomy. So a slight surgical insert between the vagina and the anus, done during the last stages of labor to expand the opening, and so just concerns about that.
Well, we'll be showing the pelvic squats, and thank you for that question, because there's many women that have had those types of surgeries, and so what that is it's created some scar tissue, and that scar tissue has become inflamed, and that inflammation is now reducing the integrity of that tissue, and so you've got a bit of a blockage there. So then with the pelvic squats and the pelvic expander and encouraging the flow, and ideally if you could get some Wolf non-surgical and then really round it out with the pelvic floor courses that Irina and Nadia are offering, and in person here for April 2nd, or 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and then via Zoom in May. I believe it's the 6th, 7th, and 8th of May. And so that would be a really wonderful all-round approach to get back the health and the integrity of those tissues, because there's so many ligaments, and that area has so many finite muscles and ligaments and tendons that those tissues then become blocked because of the lack of flow. And so when you have scarring like that, it's just creating a block. but the good news is that we can open that up. And you could even, if, I don't know if you can, it's internal, so we just really need to reduce the inflammation, get the holy grail, which is the large intestine functioning properly, to make sure that we're not pooping in the pelvis and pooping infection and putrefaction into that region, and therefore degrading the tissue itself. And so then with the stimulating, and you could clap into your groin, clap into your anus, just really stimulate the area, encourage the flow. That's what we want to do.
Definitely. And
that's how we grow.
As long as the scar is healed enough for you to do that, and if the clapper feels a bit too much, then use your hand and you can just really gently pat the area. You could do some self-massage, and then also the vaginal infusion would be really helpful, right, with this sort of thing, to get products into the area.
Yes, the vaginal infusion, absolutely. And and we'll talk about that towards the end of the show today, is the vaginal infusion, because that will really reduce the inflammation within that region. And so we'll talk about the products. I'm not sure where my cursor is.
Denise has a question. Could I clap my belly button first before doing the belly button? Would it release infection, if any?
Can you repeat the question?
So should she clap before she does the belly button, around the belly button area, and is that going to help in help release the infection?
I would say absolutely yes, because it's just going to bring a circulation to the area and prepare it for the belly button. You could do it before or after, either or both, right? You can prep the area with the clapping, do the belly button, and then afterwards just gently clap around if you feel that is good for you. Yeah.
And you could dry brush too as well. And then you can go and you could do the Epsom salt scrub, and then you jump in the shower, do the Epsom salt scrub and scrub that area and rinse yourself, and then bam, I mean, you've just stimulated it, and you're just really lovingly encouraging that infection to come out.
Absolutely. And then if you're doing it overnight time and something to help you sleep, maybe be some lavender oil, which you can put in your belly button, and in the morning, peppermint oil. It will be quite, maybe if you've got an infection, maybe not just yet, but
more
peppermint,
immunity.
Yeah, the immunity. Just to sort of really stimulate and wake everything up. But I would definitely do that in the morning, not in the evening.
Yes, and I'd like to talk a little bit about the Avicen machine, which we have sitting here. So we've got the clapper that really works with the microcirculation, but we've got various light energy machines that we have on the dock of Detox, and one of our really mainstay machines is the Avicen, which it increases our microcirculation by 66%, and it's the only machine that is 100% guaranteed to do that. And it works on, so our palms and our feet are like radiators of our body. And so what it does is that, if you want to show them the glove there, Sam, and so you actually press start on the machine itself, and you put this glove on because there's this patented technology associated with this sealing cuff right here that we don't want to get oils on. And so that's why we use a glove. So everybody uses a glove. And so we turn it onto an on position, and it takes a few minutes for the heating element to heat up. And so then we slide our hand into the Avicen, and because our hands and our feet are radiators of the body, it's like when we're in bed and we want to cool down, we stick our foot out of the blankets, and then we cool down because the blood within the foot starts to cool down, and then it sends that cool blood into the body, and we start to cool down. So it's a very similar kind of scenario with the Avicen. So it heats up the blood within the palm of the hand, and then so when you put it in, the sealing cuff seals, and then we use it for 15, 20, 30 minutes, and that's the maximum for each time that you can actually do it for. And so then it heats up that blood by 1 or 2 degrees, and then it fires that blood out into the rest of the body, and therefore increases the microcirculation. So this machine itself will put you into a parasympathetic state. This is absolutely an amazing machine. So I advise my clients and whoever is asking, should I buy this one, or which machine should I buy, as one of the energy light medicine machines that Daryl has sourced out, and the technology here is absolutely amazing. And so this is the one that I would recommend if you're going to look at the first one that you would like to bring into the home as far as an energy machine.
And it's actually really relaxing, so I've used this on quite a few occasions, and you would have it sometimes you can actually lie down and have it on a table to the side and just pop your hand in, and then this seals, and it's just really warm, and it feels really beautiful. So it can be in a really comfortable position, or you can just have it on a table to the side whilst you're listening to music or anything like that. So it's simple to use.
Great to use before bed too as well, because it puts you into that parasympathetic
Yeah.
state, and we use it within the Wolf non-surgical treatments. So we do that alongside the Bioptron with
Yeah.
the pelvic expander, and so it really puts you into a parasympathetic state. So you're well rounding everything, and then now you're like really able to stretch and open up. Is there any questions?
Just a couple of recaps with the clapper. In one area, how long should I clap?
Well, you could clap however long you like to, but as long as you get pinkness to the skin, then you know that you've increased the circulation. So just clap until it becomes really nice and pink, and then move on to another area, because you want to keep, all the surrounding area. Yeah. Good question.
Denise, is clapping comparable to soaking in freezing cold water in a barrel for a minute? Well, no, it's actually kind of exactly the opposite, Denise, because you're going to bring that lymph flow and that blood flow. So like Sharon just said, you're going to do it until you bring a slight pinkness to the skin. So doing cold first and then warm is considered vascular flushing. So you certainly, I suppose you could incorporate that in if you like, but the clapping just by itself is simply going to heat things up, bring that blood flow and help pass things through. Each little clap, we need to feel a teeny little sting when we do it, and the body interprets that as a little injury. So it goes to work and says, oh, something's going on with my person. I have a little injury, so it's going to start making stem cells. So you don't have to be a Hollywood star and spend $100,000 for stem cell therapy. You simply have to be willing to get used to the clap and just keep doing it and keep learning about it, and you can set yourself free with this little clapper.
And there's more stem cells produced in the jaw than anywhere else in the body. So when you're clapping your face, you're actually encouraging stem cell production. And I love doing the face. It's just like every morning I do my face. It's like I wake up. It's like, okay, I need to get some circulation going on here, and off I go to the races.
I mean, the
beautiful.
health benefits are amazing, but we're also reverse aging, right? Mm-hmm. So
yes, we are. Yes, we are. And that with the Wolf non-surgical facelifts, we can actually go in there, and when you look at a picture of somebody's face when they're younger, and then it's like, well, their face grew. Well, no, their skull didn't grow. There's calcification that has now collected. So the eyebrows start protruding. We start collecting it here. We start squaring off in the jaw. And I've got my jawline back from my youth because there's no more calcification that's built up on there. Because remember, we hold so much emotion in the face, and that emotion becomes inflammation because the emotion that I was holding in my face wasn't exactly positive. So if it was all positive stuff, then it wouldn't create inflammation. And so okay, so then the calcification had to happen, and so there we are.
Done it, yeah.
Getting it back.
Amazing work, amazing work with the face.
So thank you for that.
Yeah. Jean thanked us for the explanation about this surgery that can happen during pregnancy. No problem, ladies. We're here to answer questions, and maybe we're trying to put too much in one day because the questions just keep coming in. So we're happy to be here for you.
Oh yes,
awesome.
Absolutely.
Tammy has a question. Why is the urge to urinate so strong one day, but not the next? In a minor transverse colon prolapse, if a minor transverse colon prolapse is the culprit, why is it worse some days? Can a prolapse repair itself? Or is Wolf non-surgical the only way to correct the issue? I'm using the T, the black gold, the black diamond. I also have started the activation squats and belly button therapy.
Nice.
Well, there may be a reason. I mean, it just depends on how full the bladder is, right? If there's an issue, so maybe you drank more and their bladder's fuller, so then it's got more pressure on it one day than not the next, and maybe there's more inflammation one day.
Did you eat more crackers the day before and create that inflammation?
Yeah, exactly, because the inflammatory foods are sugar, dairy, including cheese. Some people are like, well, I don't eat dairy. Do you eat cheese? Yeah. Yeah, it's including cheese.
We all lie, don't we, ladies?
Exactly. And flour, because flour actually operates just so similar to sugar within the body. And so those inflammatory foods, there's probably more inflammation. And so there's different factors associated with that. And so can it be corrected, or is Wolf non-surgical the only way? I mean, you could clap it, you could go in there with the belly button therapy tool and try to encourage, the stimulation of that transverse colon, but we do something called the abdominal lift. And so we're actually getting back the tone of that large intestine. And so, you could try doing one-shot glass therapy on it, and you could try to increase the tone that way and actually try to move it up yourself, and look on the do-it-yourself guide and the various videos that Daryl has done in regards to that. So clapping, stimulating the body, reducing the inflammation, doing the coffee enemas, these are all things that you can certainly, the ultimate coffee enema, you can certainly try.
I just want to say that it is hard to replace the Wolf non-surgical. We do need to be doing this all on a holistic basis and doing all these things. You've listed the products that you're taking. But you certainly don't have to get Wolf non-surgical only from a clinic and only from a practitioner. We train a lot of people, and maybe not this course we're in right now, but the course that we did just previously, more people showed up just to learn it for themselves, just so husband and wife could do the technique on themselves, than the number of people that were showing up to become a practitioner. So again, Dr. Daryl Wolf has put together this brilliant plan that puts the power back in your hands and back in your elbow, so that we can just help each other out, between you and a husband, or you and a partner, or you and a friend that are buddy mates. The power is in the individual, so you don't necessarily have to feel like you have to get to a clinic for this, right?
Well, and there's the personal treatment and training programs that we have. You can come for 5 or 6 days down to the Ixtapa World Healing and Training Center, and you could come as a partner. You could come as a mother-daughter scenario, or whatever it is, and you could come down here and you can actually learn the techniques and you can work on each other. So you can pick 5 or 6 different body parts, and you can actually learn the techniques and actually give each other treatments. And that's why it's called the personal treatment and training. So you go away after 5 or 6 days and you have the skills set so that then you can work on each other. And there's couples, there's joint restoration, there's athletic. You can go to the personal treatment and training.com, and you can see all the various ones. There's the personal treatment and training for the perfect pain-free pregnancy, which is phenomenal because we can work the pelvic region and really open things up, along with the pelvic restoration courses that we are offering, and you can actually create such an environment that you can deliver a baby within 30 or 45 minutes. These long deliveries and cesarean sections, they don't need to happen. Those are only if it's absolute life-threatening and you would require a cesarean, but there doesn't need to happen those major surgeries that we're dealing with. And so let's move on to the pelvic squats. The pelvic squats are a way to open up the pelvic region, and this is really, really important because years ago that we used to not have toilets, and women would squat 6 or 7 or 8 times a day, and so that pelvic floor was really stimulated, and those actual squatting techniques were actually very important for the integrity of the tissues in childbirth. And so that repetitive squatting over a toilet now what ended up happening, and it happened because of Henry VIII. We ended up starting to give birth to our babies lying down rather than squatting. And so he wanted to have a little peephole to witness the birth of his children, and so then it became the norm to now lie down to deliver a baby. So then now what we do is we open up the root energy center, which opening that up heats up the coccyx and it lights up the spine. So the spinal fluid carries the most amount of light within the body itself. So it carries the light up the coccyx tail, up into the light and into our state of consciousness. So the pelvic squats, the various type of activation squats, actually open up that area so that we then ended up bringing in the life force, bringing in light into our body, and therefore opening up our consciousness. So that's why it's expand your pelvis, expand your consciousness. And so we can show some actual demonstrations of the pelvic activation squat.
Yeah.
We'll just have to maybe answer another question or so because we'll need some camera support, gentlemen, so that we can get on the floor and do a demo.
Well, we
So-
can answer the questions while we're getting
Yep,
moved over
yep.
to the
One
pelvic
quick one was
squat.
clapping by hand. Can you use both hands at the same time? You can certainly start there and certainly do that, but you are going to get more action out of the actual clapper.
And you know what I do is I
That was
I
correct.
use 2 clappers.
You a
at the
double
same
clapper?
time.
Oh, look
I
at
used-
you, superstar girl.
I use both. I use 2 clappers.
Good for you.
I haven't quite figured this one out yet, but anyway.
Yeah, my good friend Christine, we've offered to clap the back of each other's arms to
Yeah,
help
exactly.
us out.
That's hilarious.
So let's where's our camera crew so we can show the pelvic activation squats, because we need to move things along here because we're running short of time.
We
but
are.
I don't know what happened.
We might have to add. We might have to do another show for the
Well, maybe
pelvic
we might
Have to whistle
expander.
for a cute little gad to come out.
Yeah.
We want to
So
do a
we're
squat on the
going to
floor,
move over
my
here
dear.
and show the pelvic activation squats. So
So-
we just need to so we're just going to step up.
follow
So the
us with the
pelvic
camera.
activation
And I'm
squats.
pretty wired up to be doing that, love. Can
So I can.
Okay.
I think I can do that. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So
Yes.
I'll just head over to the pelvic squat area.
to the pelvic squat area. And so
and then a question.
Hi, Braveheart Women. Welcome back. We had to sort of stop things and restart it because we went overtime, which was wonderful. So now we know that when we're doing demonstrations as far as interactive, that we'll only end up doing 2 or 3, and then we'll move on. And I really thank you for all your questions and the interaction. It was really beautiful. So it's about expand your pelvis, expand your consciousness. And now I've brought in beautiful Nadia and Irina because we're going to talk about the Pain-Free Pelvis Masterclass and just finish off my portion of the Braveheart Women show, and then we will bring them on for the Pain-Free Pelvis Masterclass show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Yes. And basically, Nadia and Irina, they're pelvic floor instructors and they're womb healers. And so they're going to be doing their class or their show right after here. And they're offering a Pain-Free Pelvis Masterclass, Unleash Your Feminine Power, in person from April 1st, on April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd here at the Ixtapa World Healing and Training Center, and then via Zoom May 6th, 7th, and 8th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
then people can take advantage of that from all over the world. And from my own personal standpoint, is I can say that I ended up taking this course and I ended up having an amazing, amazing journey with that. And so we can now marry the pelvic clearance non-surgical. We can marry the perfect day protocols as far as the strategy to reduce the deterioration of the tissues, the very fine tissues within that entire vaginal area, so that then the ligaments and the tendons and the muscles aren't being infiltrated with inflammation and putrefaction from the Holy Grail, which is our large intestine. And so now we can actually now go in and reconnect with that divine sacredity, our divine womb, where we can actually go in there and really feel what it's like to have our feminine power and get in there and really maneuver those fine muscles and really waken that and light up our life, because it is about enlightenment. It's about enlightening ourselves and connecting ourselves to our consciousness. Right, ladies?
Sharon, thank you so
Sure,
much.
so
It
much.
was such an honor to have you in our class, not only because, we're honoring and love all the women that come to us, but especially because we just took Wolf Non-Surgical and Life Coach certification for the first time, and you've been on this journey for many, many years and months, and you're a master practitioner. So it was very interesting for me to hear your feedback, because you truly understood how it integrates with all the work that Dr. Wolf does. So it's very interesting to hear your feedback, and I'm very honored that you truly, enjoyed the course. You let it sink in with your body. You opened your mind to truly, learn something from us, and we learned a lot from you during that course. You were our teacher as well, because, like I said, it was very interesting to see how you were immediately integrating everything with what Dr. Wolf does.
Beautiful.
So thank you.
It was really nice to embrace that, and for my own personal journey as far as how I am realigning myself. And it was really wonderful to now kind of bring in that missing piece, because it's all about integration, right?
Exactly.
And your knowledge and your ability to explain it, and to really, in a very kind, gentle, loving, respectful way. I felt very honored in that class, and it was
Thank
an
you
honor
so much.
of
That's
mine
what you said
to be
after the
there.
class, and
Yeah.
it was just so beautiful. I almost cried when you came and you said these words.
Because your energy was changed like right away from one to second day, and we were so honored to have you in our class, because first of all you're a master practitioner, and that was our mission with Irina to share our knowledge with all of you, and then you can share it with your clients, because when you consult them, and it's a lot of questions about pelvic floor and pelvic floor issues, and that it's wonderful that together we can help even 100% more than before.
Exactly.
Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
I mean, it is so beautiful, and it is all about empowerment. And when we can take back our power. We could take back that ability to totally self-love ourselves, but also to connect. I mean, we have disconnected ourselves for many reasons because of all the surgeries and all of the poking and the prodding and the poisoning and all of these things that go on. And then, not even, when we look at history and how history has tried to reduce our ability to connect with our divine femininity. And this is about divine femininity. This is not about being feminists. This is about being feminine.
Exactly.
And I love
Beautifully
it.
said.
I love it. Now I can it's just like, it's like moving and shaking. It's like,
That's wonderful. I wanted to ask you just one question, because for all those women that are watching us, they're probably wondering about the length of the class, because it's only 3 days. And the question that I want to ask you, have you continued with your exercising that we've learned at the class every single day or every other day? Because that's the key.
I have, actually. And I go under the Bioptron and I go onto the Avicen, and then I end up doing the exercises. And I do it.
I know that you do, because I see it in your eyes. I just wanted you to say it.
I do it. Yes. And it's because, and I do it subconsciously now, because it's just like kind of like now that I've
Naturally.
fired that up,
Yes,
because
it
I wasn't
clicked.
connected to that part of myself. And many of us
Exactly.
aren't, because the fact that we don't even know how to connect. And so now I know how to connect. And for me, it's like, okay, I need a little refresher on some of the other techniques, because I know that, it's like anything.
Look at
You
her
go to the
smile.
gym.
She's like, it's totally different when you talk about coffee, am I right?
Okay, need a little refresher.
Oh, I think I'm blushing.
Okay, we all, I think we all, but
It's really hot in here.
sorry to interrupt
Yeah,
you.
it's okay. It's all good. I need a little refresher, because just like when you go to the gym, right? You do the exercises that are the easiest, and then I know that, because, okay, I'm really good at that one and that position and all these different areas, and I'm like, I know that there's areas that are a little bit more weaker, and so those are the areas that I need to remember, but you remember the ones that you're really good at, right? And so I was like,
Yes.
okay, I'm really moving and shaking, I'm like, got this. And then I'll come for a refresher and be like, okay, go into this position and do it this way, and I'll be like, well, I'm not so strong in that position, and so it'll be fun.
This is a uniqueness of the practice and these techniques. Then as soon as women know how to use their muscles voluntarily, they can control.
Yeah.
You're free. You can
Yeah.
do them everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not even gonna count where, like almost everywhere. And that's it.
And to answer your question, exactly. And to answer your question, Irina, it is actually enough days. Because to be
You
honest
integrate
with
it
you, it
into
was
your
really,
practice
to
daily.
really
That's-
integrate it and to really, and the key is just repetition. And so if I go away and don't do it for 3 weeks, well, then it might be a little bit difficult to remember all the
Exactly.
techniques.
But-
if I go home and start integrating it right away, then it's more than enough. And it would be good to maybe have like sort of a refresher Zoom
Well,
call
you will
and just
have
kind of run
soon from
through
1 to
things
3rd.
like
Are you
that.
with us in April, by the way? Because
Yeah.
just for everyone who is watching, even though we're here in Ixtapa, but the only time we see each other is on this show. Because
Yeah,
everyone's
really.
so
Yeah, by
busy.
the way, I will be here.
Because we would like
I'll be
you
part of
all
it.
enjoy the class.
Yes.
It will be kind of our
Yes.
gift to all of you who did it first one, because you're
Yeah.
kind
Beautiful.
pioneers of the
Beautiful.
Training. Yes, and
free
also we need your help to, help.
to help other women.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I'm there.
We would love to have you.
Definitely.
Super, super.
And this is about women. I mean, this is about a Braveheart nation. And if we create leaders within our own self-care and we create leaders within our own consciousness, that's the key. That's the key. The repetition is the golden key. Repeat, repeat.
Absolutely.
So I repeat things so often in regards to these shows because that's how we start reprogramming ourselves. And we're actually creating a nation of consciousness. If we can be in the present moment and really feel ourselves and really get connected with ourselves and allow that enlightenment, allow that flow to happen, then we won't be bothered by this going on or that going on. If I can have total chaos in my world and sit down and be at peace, and everybody's running around and be just like, okay, when you guys are finished, then give me a call. And so if I can do that, then could you imagine as we move forward and we create this peacefulness, because doing these pelvic courses, the pain-free pelvic courses, is that actually stimulates our vagus nerve,
Exactly.
which winds down this beautiful area within our pelvic region and up through our intestinal tract and into our various energy centers and within our heart, and comes up along our neck.
Absolutely.
Talk about peaceful.
And I just want to come back to what you say, that you have to practice and sometimes you don't, but muscles has memory. So if you did some practice, like 21 days, couple months, 3 months, it depends of your physical condition, and you stopped, but when you come back, muscle has a memory, so it will be much easier to go back to the same condition than before, than you started. So it's just little practice.
And address these issues. You know, like 49% of the women population over the age of 50 drip urine. And so this is what this is about. You don't need the mesh. You don't need these surgeries. You don't need these invasive treatments that create more scar tissue and more blocks and more trouble within the region of our pelvic, our beautiful girdle, and this beautiful region that brings life into this earth and brings divinity. And so we can now gather that from the root chakra. I just can't emphasize it enough as far as what individuals will end up getting. Women out there, give yourself that gift and go onto the Doc of Detox. And if you have questions, you can find Nadia and Irina.
Yes, please call
Are you
us,
good? How
emails.
can they reach you?
You know, I don't remember by heart our
Because
phone
we have a
number.
slides with...
It's going to be later, but
Okay.
I know that our email where people can email us is painfreepelvis@docofdetox.com,
There
and
you
the
go.
phone number we'll leave a little bit later.
Yeah, perfect.
And
Pain-free pelvis.
yes, the reason I ask you that question, Sharon, because I want women to understand that in these 3 days of training, we will give them all the tools that they need, but they still have to do the work themselves. And that's why if you're coming for a magic pill, 3-day thing, look elsewhere. Here we do the work. We do the work with Perfect Day, we do the work with non-surgical, we do the work with pain-free pelvis course, but it's a fun work, you know. It's a beautiful journey. I wouldn't even call it a work.
It's a pleasurable work.
It's a pleasurable work.
You do something
yes.
for yourself, for your body. It's a priceless knowledge which you can share then with everyone, with your family, with your kids, with your loved one. It's really, you do something for yourself. Nobody can do it for you, just for you.
I like to refer to it as a process or a journey. And so when we use the word work, because it's almost work sounds like, oh, I'm going to work.
Oh, I'm just trying to
I
prepare
know,
everyone
but
because
yeah.
you do
No,
need to
because
get some work.
there
in.
is repetition.
Exactly.
And there
If you don't have the habit of
there is
doing
a
it.
commitment.
Exactly.
A commitment.
Because
right?
sometimes, it's
Let's call
work.
it
that's-
commitment.
Yeah.
It's a commitment.
A
Like,
commitment to you. And that's what this is about, right?
Exactly.
It's a commitment.
like for everything else we do in our life.
That's right.
Commitment.
Focus. And so, you know, it's interesting because I've been here since October, and I've observed many individuals coming through the courses and really life-changing events for many, and coming doing the Wolf non-surgical and coming to the whole life coach, and even for yourself, because I had the privilege to do a Perfect Day consult with Nadia shortly after she arrived. And just to observe how people are changing because they're focused. And so it's very easy to get distracted here because there's a beautiful beach, and it's not saying that you can't go to the beach, but then there's lots, you know, the alcohol's cheap and there's lots of really good food. It's easy to get distracted, but it's about focus. And so if we want to really encourage the body to realign, then we focus on the realignment. So we don't focus on the dis-ease of the body, we focus on loving the body. And this is about loving. And this is such a new view for many individuals because it's not, you know, it's about self-care and self-love and unconditional love for self. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of wrap things up as far as the Braveheart Women show. And then I'm going to pass it on because if you want to stay on, and Nadia and Irina are going to have their own show here right after we complete this. And just remember, you are enough, and love your body, not your disease. Heaven is what you make it in every present moment. Feed your spirit. Be selfish enough to love yourself unconditionally. And this fear-based model that many are running, we can't win in fear. So the bottom line, ladies, expand your pelvis, expand your consciousness. And so for more information, you can check out the BraveheartNation.com, NewWorldPractitioner.com. You can go to personaltreatmentandtraining.com, and you can learn how to do various restoration treatments. You can come down as a couple, pain-free pregnancy, and you can marry that with one of these beautiful
Exactly,
courses, and you can really then deliver a baby within 30 or 45 minutes. The upcoming shows, we run every Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, our Braveheart Women show, and next week is called Brains on Fire, which equals depression. I'm going to have Alya, and we're going to be talking about the bioptron and the energy. She's going to be my guest next week. And remember to join us at the show.docofdetox.com to never miss an opportunity to come on and ask live questions. We can also be found on Facebook and various uncensored platforms, Telegram, t.me, t.me/the Doc of Detox, Rumble, Doc of Detox, Bitchute, Odyssey at Doc of Detox, and Brighteon. So join us for any upcoming courses that we have, which is here in the Ixtapa World Healing and Training Center, is the Pelvic Floor Restoration Masterclass. Unleash Your Femininity, Unleash Your Feminine, from April 1st to 3rd. So come down, jump on a plane, come down and experiencing this face to face, get some Wolf non-surgical.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be beautiful.
Absolutely fun. It really is a fun course.
It's a good circle of women.
Yeah.
It's a very intimate and private setting.
Yeah.
And it's very special. I think it's very much life-changing.
Yeah.
I think everyone walks away with...
Something new for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, not just that. I think it opens up something in you that sets you free.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're free to be yourself and to be a woman that you are born to be, you truly can do magical things.
Yeah.
I feel so honored for every woman that comes to our classes, and I always feel like after every class, I improve myself in many ways because I learn from every woman that comes and shares her story. And every story needs to be heard. Every story should be changed if it's not a good story, and every story must be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so beautiful, and I'm so honored that the fact that I have taken your program and been able to get to know you as two beautiful individuals.
Thank you so
and
much,
the
Sharon.
dedication and the commitment that you guys have made in regards to this, and it's just such a wonderful way to experience our bodies and to really connect. And I can't say enough and about doing this as far as a program, and we have all these various traumas that we can overcome within our own femininity, and we don't need to hold on to this. And the term freedom, we can give ourselves that freedom to fly.
Yes.
First, love yourself, to allow your wings to spread, and it doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're 20 years old or whether you're 100 years old. You deserve to fly. And you deserve to feel free within your own body and to be able to experience these wonderful,
Absolutely.
enlightening programs and opportunities.
And this time we'll have our beautiful Robin
Yes.
that will help us fly.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, and release the trauma, because we all have trauma. You don't have to be, sexually abused to have trauma. You can store the trauma that you don't even think you stored there.
That's right.
So
Yeah, we can be told as young children, that don't touch yourself down there because you're a dirty little girl, or don't express yourself in that way because it's like there's something wrong with it. And so that just starts layering within us and can create blockages and prevent us from really truly experiencing what it's like to be a divine feminine
yes. And for everyone who will be attending in person, I just want to let you know that we will be offering Wolf non-surgical treatments. It's not part of the course, but it can be add-on to the course. We have beautiful practitioners here, both men and women, with whoever you are more comfortable working with. And I've took treatments from both men and women, and it's fantastic. All our practitioners are amazing here, and I highly recommend, if you are coming in person, please do schedule consultations, and please do schedule Wolf non-surgical treatments, because like we keep emphasizing that integration of both of those things truly makes magic.
Absolutely. And the Zoom is on May 6th, 7th, and 8th?
Yes, we wanted to do, at first we wanted to do it together, but then we realized that we won't be able to give...
to teach and to be in front of the
exactly,
camera.
so that's why we took
cannot
the
focus
decision
on
to
your body in
separate.
this case.
Makes total sense. And so we also have the New World Practitioner certification that starts on April the 30th, which is the whole life coach portion of it, and that runs till May the 8th. And then the Wolf Non-Surgical starts on May the 11th to the 22nd. There's also New World Practitioner certification in June and again in July. So check us out at the braveheartnation.com or the newworldpractitioner.com. And remember, expand your pelvis, expand your consciousness. Would you ladies like to finish off the Braveheart Women's show with saying out loud the Braveheart Oath? I would love for you to join me.
Yes.
Okay. I am love. I am healed. I am Braveheart. Today and every day, from the moment I rise until I gently close my eyes, I will trust, honor, respect, protect, forgive, and totally love myself unconditionally, first and foremost, before anyone or anything else. So help me God, because I am, I can, I am healed. I am a Braveheart goddess. Hear me roar.
And 1, 2, 3, 1.
God bless you, everyone. Thank you. 3, 2, 1. You got this. Thank you so much. We love you.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful afternoon. Until next week.
You know, it's not good enough to have the most powerful courses, treatments, and training. We want to deliver to you the adventure of a lifetime that's going to last a lifetime. And I'm going to take you on a little adventure right now and show you what we are going to deliver. What are we going to deliver? We are going to deliver the authentic you, the real you, the genius inside. How would you like to become not just the master of your mind, but the master of your body, the master of your life? You know what? The most important world is your world, and we're about to show you how to create it.
Found Dr. Wolf and all his positivity and trying to reshape our way of thinking and help me be a better person, a better mom, better wife. I'm glad I found him in person in Ixtapa, Mexico.
Never limit yourself to beautiful, because that's what you are. Take a look at this beautiful place. We all deserve beauty in our life. You need to create a new program that is unlimited when it comes to things that are beautiful, things that make you happy, things that make you shine, things that make you feel excited. Let's get excited.
This guy's got something really interesting to say and he's sharing it really openly and just really not caring what other people think, and I just thought that was really empowering.
What I've learned in my life is this: to be the change you wish to be the change you wish to see, Braveheart, you have to understand you take life one step at a time.
Dr. Wolf, as many people will have seen, is very direct and straight and will take you to the edge of the cliff, as he says, and then pull you back just in time.
Never lose your focus. Never lose your dream, because you are the dream maker. It's called image, but guess what? It's your imagination. The image that you hold creates the thought that you live with. That thought creates an emotion that creates a frequency, and we know that the invisible creates the physical. I mean, that's quite obvious. So be the power that you seek, and understand something, that all your thoughts matter. And guess what? Unless you're willing to take a look at those thoughts and retrain your brain, change your personality, you'll never change your reality, and your reality could become infinite.
He's a wealth of information, and I love it.
You were created by your creator to create. So let's create something amazing together.
I found Dr. Wolf and I went, wow, here's a truth speaker. And he spoke to my soul, and he spoke truth.
So tell me what you think of the destination that I came up with my imagination to hold the whole life coach certification for you. Understand something. It's all about beauty. It's all about adventure. It's all about stimulating the mind, okay? And understanding that your mind is unlimited. And that is what the Whole Life Coach certification is all about. In the Whole Life Coach certification, we are going to go deeper. We have people coming to us, professionals coming to us, from doctors to nurses to accountants to oil riggers to mothers that want to expand their life. And when they come here, they go, I need to learn to help my family, or I want to improve my business. But guess what? We get into their business. When they leave, they become the change that they wish to see, that they wish to be. They become the gift to the world, because when you can stay in the present, and you can't do that until you have unconditional love and care for yourself. And I'll tell you something right now. I have hardly even found 1 out of 1,000 practitioners, or even so-called whole life coaches, that can hold the present moment and own it and then give it as a gift. And this is what I'm going to give to you. And when you come here, this is where you're going to come into this room when you need to find alignment, you need to find balance, and you need to get back into your lion heart breath, because we're going to go deep into your heart, and we're going to become the spark that you seek.
And actually what I really love about Dr. Wolf's teachings is that unconditional love is literally it. And then you're like, how can it be that easy? That's just silly. So, but it's really not.
Come play, come stay, come train with us today. Understand something. I know we have fear, but understand, that's just false evidence appearing real. I get it. Stick your toe in, feel the water, but then I want you to dive right in, because
How I found my Braveheart was through Daryl. He really teaches you to go within and go in through your heart and not your mind, because your heart's a lot more connected to so much more than your mind. Your mind is just so conditioned, and your heart is just so open and beautiful.
you're the answer that you've been looking for. Let me teach you how to fly. What does that mean? First, love yourself, Braveheart. Let's take life in and win.
I had just lost my husband a couple of years ago. With his passing, he gave me the greatest gift to love myself. But Dr. Wolf gave me the greatest gift in understanding that.
I had a dream 3 years ago that I would live in Mexico and I would have this training center, this teaching center, this treatment center that would touch the world. Your dreams are never too big. And when they start to create a little bit of anxiety, turn them into excitement. And get excited, because this is your life.
He's the first doctor that I have encountered that has truly given me the truth, and not just half-truths, but the full truth. So it's been revolutionary for me in my healing process.
And this, my friend, when you take on the dream of all dreams, and you realize that if you stay connected to your breath, that you can have it all. Do not let anybody take your breath away. Do not let anybody steal your dream, okay? Listen, God gave you imagination. This is your sandbox of life. Take your life back. Right now, we are teaching courses to people that have come from all over the world, and the government is saying you can't travel, you can't breathe, you can't have this, you can't come together. Yes, we will. And we will do it with unconditional love for each other. And we will learn to grow. We will not judge each other. We'll observe and see where we can support each other. But at the same time, we will hold the Braveheart line, because this is the only way that we can grow. So find your roar, because you're so much more. And learn this. You are the unconditional love that you've been looking for. You are the dream maker. I can't wait to see you. We want to become that small piece of the puzzle that brings your dream together. Thank you. Let me ask you a question. What do you think it would take to turn your life around? I can tell you right now, I learned that a long time ago, what the key was. And anybody that has been able to perfect the perfect day on an emotional, physical, and spirit level knows this. The answer is massive, personal action. That's what it's going to take for you to turn your life around. And to turn your life around, you're going to have to go within if you want to change without. And that's the bottom line. And you know, people think that they can do it like with a consultation, or maybe they can do it with a telephone call or a Band-Aid or a 911 emergency, a treatment. But understand, that's not the way it is. The day that you realize that when you master your mind is the only time you're going to master your body. Forget your life. That's always going to be just random luck until you know that you must become the master of your day. From the moment you rise until you gently close your eyes, you must be the only authority for you. And if you think that getting an hour consultation is going to do it, it's not. If you think that going for therapy is going to do it, it's not. You have to submerge yourself into what we would call the personal treatment and training. And you need to do that from anywhere from 6 days to 10 days, or you need to come for my whole life coach certification, because if you don't go in deep, you'll never make changes. They say it takes 10,000 times for you to repeat something before it becomes a prominent, dominant thought. And if you understood that 70 to 90% of all your thoughts are not yours, and they say that 70% of your thoughts are toxic, tell me they're not. Take a look at the majority of the population. 92% of the population has an autoimmune disease, which means the body is attacking itself. Before that, though, the person was attacking themselves on a subconscious, unconscious level. And that, my friend, is the bottom line, and why you must take a personal treatment and training and go deep and understand how to run your life. What that means is learning how to think, how to drink, how to eat, and knowing when somebody is mistreating you, when someone is disrespecting you, because until you honor and respect yourself, no one else is going to do it. So understand, this is your life. If you want to live your passion and purpose, then you must become the master of your mind to become the master of your body so that you can become the light for your family. So please, consider this. You've got the time and you've got the money, because you're going to change the rest of your life for the rest of your life, and that's my guarantee to you.